Welcome to Conversations with Cole, where every voice is valued and every story has a place.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Nikki Nicole, and this is Conversations with Cole. On today's show, we have a Jacksonville native who is a mother, grandmother, sister, daughter, and proud Reigns Vikings class of 1998. She has been a member of Seafarers International Union since 2013, where she sails in the steward department. Of her many accomplishments she's done throughout her 45 years of life, the one we are talking about today will be her diagnosis, battle, and victory over liver and colon cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Cynora Hunter. Thank you for coming on the show, Cynora. For those of you who don't know, me and Cynora both met at Piney Point in 2013, where we both went through the Seafarers International Union School to become merchant seamen. And we also had another connection. Her son's father graduated with me, Frank's class of 1993. So that was a connection. And we had another connection where a person that we knew from our past. I knew from my past that she also knew. So we got really close and really connected. And she looked out for me big time when I was at Piney Point, because those cheap Walmart boots I had gave me blisters. And homegirl, she was rubbing my feet. They wanted me to stay in. You know, we was looking out for each other, sisters of the sea. And we were both from Duval representing. So we just became really close. And I was surprised when I got a phone call from her telling me that she had been diagnosed with stage 4 liver and colon cancer. So after she rang that bell, she promised me she'll come on the show. So here we are. Thank you for coming on the show, Cynora.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's just jump into it. When were you first diagnosed with having liver and colon cancer, and what was some of the things that was going on with you that made you seek medical attention?
Oh, now this is quite interesting. Going out to sea, I was in the galley, and I went on break, and I went in the room, and nothing was really wrong. But I went and took a shower and all, and got dressed, and all of a sudden I started hearing spraying. And I'm like, I'm not spraying anything. What's going on? I'm like, well, a varicose vein in my leg had ruptured, and I was spraying blood across the ship. So I had to call up to the bridge and get the guys to come down, and we eventually got the blood to stop, spraying everywhere. And of course, we just about to land. So when I get back, I goes to the doctor first of all to get that vein cauterized. But then I was not fit for duty because I lost too much blood.
Okay.
And in doing so, the doctor said, "Well, let's run another panel, see what's going on." Okay. And so the results of that is that I was still anemic.
Okay.
So he said, "Well, I'm going to send you over to MD Anderson Cancer Center to see a hematology oncologist."
Okay.
And so I, did the appointment and went there, and I explained to him what occurred with my leg. And he says, "Okay, well, let's get you started on iron infusions."
Okay.
So I started with my iron infusions, and everything was going well. And I remember sitting up there because I was sitting in the same area with those who were taking chemo.
Right.
And I remember saying, "Lord, thank you for my issue, because I could very well be in the shoes of the other people who are here."
Yeah.
And I went back for some more appointments with the oncologist, and he said to me, "You're still anemic." He said, "Something else is going on. And I know what happened with your leg, but just to be on the safe side, let's do a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, just to make sure that you're not losing blood from anywhere else."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, of course," So I called and scheduled a consultation for the colonoscopy, and that's so amazing. I went to the consultation and spoke with the doctor, and she told me, "Well, this was June the 10th that I went to the consultation." And she says to me, "Well, we don't have any openings until mid-August, first part of September, end of August, first part of September sometime." And of course, you know how it is with us on the ship. "Hey, I have to go to work.
Go back to work.
So, I gave her my whole spiel on me needing to, what can you get me in sooner? I have to go to work. I don't want to lose the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so she left out of the room and spoke with the nurse or whomever at the desk. And she comes back in and she says, have you eaten today? I say, no, I haven't. I said, I didn't know whether or not I needed to be fasting, before I saw you all.
Mm-hmm.
She said, good, don't eat anything. We're going to do your colonoscopy tomorrow.
Nice.
I said, look at God.
Yes.
So, of course, the next day, I had my mom take me to Boiling Grover, and my appointment was at 1 o'clock. That was June 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in there, and I go under,
Mm-hmm.
and I wake up an hour later, and my life was dead. So when the doctor come in with absolutely no bedside manner,
Yeah.
and he just laid it on me. I come out of anesthesia. Well, we found colon cancer. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, like what you said, you woke up and your life changed.
Life changed.
I say that to people all the time. I say everybody is healthy until the doctor tells you you're not.
And that is true.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Wow. Wow. So what went through your mind when you heard those words, or when they initially tell you, they don't tell you the stage at the time.
Right.
They just tell you that you have cancer.
Yes.
So at what point did you find out what stage it was?
Well, the next morning I was very proactive in this. That's one thing. When you hear something like that, you almost have an out of body experience.
Okay.
Because you're just like, what now? And you immediately begin to think about your loved ones, your children, your grandchildren, your parents, those who are there.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things was because my mom had to come back and get me, and I had to get in the car with her and tell
your mom.
And you already know the things that had occurred.
Yeah.
So that was just one extra thing, and it was hard because then I had to tell my son.
Yeah.
My one and only.
Yes.
And that was
for so long it was just y'all two. Yeah.
And that was really rough. And so I was very proactive, and I ended up calling on the phone to schedule because they said, okay, you need to get a CT scan, contrast, and also instead of waiting on them to call, I called, and I was at Boiling Grover on June the 12th.
Nice. So you just bam, bam, bam. Yeah, you pushing through.
Because what's next?
Yeah.
And so when I went and got the CT scan, and I got the results from the CT scan, they found that it had spread to my liver. And a few doctor's appointments after that, they hooked me up with the colorectal oncologist and the hepatic oncologist, the liver doctor as well. And the Dr. Pugliaris, which is the liver doctor, he is one of stage. He said, okay, so it's stage 4.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's definitely not the number you want to hear, for sure.
And I tell you no lies. Like, he told me that he thought I was quite hysterical. And I was by myself. I went alone.
Okay.
I didn't want to worry about people,
Yeah.
And so when he walked out of the room, he and the nurse, I tell you no lies, Nicole, I just paced back and forth. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Yeah.
The name I called.
Yeah.
And I prayed, I cried, I prayed, I cried.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to gather myself. I had to gather myself.
Okay.
And I got myself together. And I went to get in the car, and I called my mom to tell her. And I got home, and I live alone. And so I got home, and again, I prayed and I cried and I cried and I prayed. I said, God, I still have living to do.
Yes, 45 years old.
I have to be here for my son and my grandson and my mother and my sister and all of my other loved ones.
Yes.
I said, just please walk with me through this.
Yes.
And that's how I found out what stage it was. I was alone.
Yeah. So what was the hardest part about those early days? Was it the initial shock of finding out you have cancer and it being all the way in stage 4, and now I can only imagine as a single woman, you're the only person in your household, you're the breadwinner of your household. So all of these things are going through your mind because that's the thing about our type of job. It's no light duty or you can take off for an appointment that day and go back to work, or you leave work early to go see a doctor. It's no work for us.
No work.
Once you're found not fit for duty,
Yes.
that's it. So the money stops coming in until other avenues can be explored if they are available at that time. So in those early stages, was that one of your biggest concerns, as well as you're fighting for your life, and now you're fighting to maintain the life that you've already made for yourself, your home, your vehicles, everything that you've accomplished throughout these years? Was that a difficult part for you?
Yes. It was very difficult. Um, like you say, I live alone.
Yes.
So not only did I have to focus on maintaining my lifestyle and my livelihood and all, I had to divide that with my mental, of dealing with the, the disease.
Yes.
I couldn't really just focus on fighting for my life because I had other concerns as well.
Yes.
And it consumed me. And I will sit here and tell you no lies. I hid a lot of what I truly felt from others. I didn't want to worry anymore. Especially my mother. I definitely didn't want to worry her.
Yeah.
So I hid it. I smiled through days where I just wanted to fall apart. And,
That's always been your character, though. You've always, since I've been knowing you, you've always sacrificed your emotional or mental well-being for the sake of others. You've always done that. So I can only imagine that was amplified. And the sad part about it is that was a time to where you really needed to lean on other people, but you didn't know how to turn that off because that's how you've always been. That's how you've always been. So it's a good thing when the host knows you personally. I know that that's how you operate. So let me ask you this. What was your motivation to just say you're going to put on your boots, strap them up, put on your armor, you're going to war? What was your motivation to fight hard and fight through? What was the motivation for that?
my son and grandson.
That's it. And for people who don't have kids, you would never understand it because I say it all the time. My grandkids, my children. Yes, that's it.
My son, my grandson, and of course my mom and sister.
Yeah.
But my son and my grandson.
Yeah.
They were get up, get moving, do what you need to do. Yes.
And this is one of the questions because me and you talked about this after you told me about you having cancer and how everything transpired. For those of you who don't know, with us being in the union, we have to have physicals and blood work done yearly. Okay. Cynora is one who, and with our private insurance, I know I have one, you have one.
Yes.
And not only that, but you have an additional screening done just through another doctor, through your OB, your gynecologist, your gynecology doctor. So how do you think all of those safeguards that people do, and this was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because we've done everything right. You did everything right. You went and had your physicals, had the blood work done, had all these things done. Wasn't a person who hadn't been to the doctor in 15, 20 years. Every year we go.
Every year.
Several times a year.
Several times a year.
How did you fall through the cracks, do you think? And it was all the way up to stage 4 when it was found.
Yes. The colorectal oncologist told me by the time they found it, it had already been growing my colon for almost 3 years.
3 years. So in your case, that's at least 9 exams.
Yeah. That was missed.
That was missed.
That was missed. I would say the fact that there are age restrictions on when they want you to get your first colonoscopy,
Yes.
that's an issue. Because unfortunately, cancer wreaks havoc at all ages. If it didn't, we wouldn't have Jude and
Right.
other, children hospitals for
Right.
cancer patients. I personally feel as though if you're having issues and you have the insurance, private insurance, and whoever insurance, and you know that those particular symptoms or whatnot are some of the things that happens with that particular type of cancer or whatnot, get screening.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be an age limit on when you go to get screened.
Right.
Uh, that's a major issue.
Because you wasn't the age for a colonoscopy
No.
yet. You found yourself fighting for your life,
Yes.
stage 4
Yes.
colon cancer.
Yes, and colon cancer it runs rampant.
Mhm.
Like Brian McKnight's son, it was a young guy just the other day, 18 years old. I believe he was a Mexican American, and his parents were, yes.
That in the ice
Yes,
camp, okay,
yes,
and they
and
let him go just to
time.
visit him before he passed.
He was 18 years old.
Okay.
And Brian McKnight, Chadwick Boseman,
Mm-hmm.
the young lady, I forget her name, that played on Babs.
Yes, Natalie.
Her
name was Natalie, so I can't.
Yes, she's colon cancer. It does not have an age limit.
Right.
It doesn't, and it's a very common cancer.
Right. Yeah, because we did a show with on Divas of the Round Table. We did one with a man who had colon cancer, and he rang the bell. He fought it and beat it. And that's the thing about it. It's like people can fight and win these battles with cancer, but it's the matter of detecting it early enough.
Yes.
But a lot of these insurance companies, because of the the associated costs or whatever, they don't want to pay and get the test done early. But this is the thing that I think about. If it costs you a few $100s to give a test, if that person develops cancer and now they're fighting for their lives and going through all of this thing, that's thousands of dollars that the insurance company is paying out versus a couple $100s for a test,
When I underwent surgery
Mm-hmm.
to remove the tumors, the cost of that surgery, hospital stay, they didn't even include the hospital stay. That was just the surgery. $239,000.
$239,000 when they could have just paid a few $100s for a test.
Yeah. That I personally believe that the screenings, just a regular CBC or things like that, we should automatically just screen for CEA scores, which is CEA is like a blood panel that is ran to determine the amount of cancer cells that are in your colon, if any.
Okay.
Because had that been done, prior, normal is, I believe, 3 to 5 in normal people.
Mm-hmm.
When mine was detected, it was 76.2.
Wow. Yes, that's extremely high.
Yes.
And that's the thing too. A lot of times, like when people have their CBCs done and different things, and down to my charts and all this stuff, and you get your results. A lot of people don't even know what they're looking at.
Right.
But I'm like, Google is your best friend, baby. I type all of that stuff in to see what exactly it is that they're talking about.
Yes.
Because sometimes I'm below on some of the levels, especially, with my iron and things of that nature. So I'm constantly looking at what it is, what do I need to do to rectify the problem and fix whatever's going on? Because it's strangely enough, in my case, I can't speak for all physicians and all people, but a lot of times when I get those results, I never hear anything back from it. Like it was like, it's low, okay, and I just know it's low, but I'm not called in to the office and say, hey, we need to discuss, X, Y, Z, and why it's low or why it's high and what we need to do. I've never had that, but I have had abnormal levels on different things, but I've read about what they were, and I didn't, really go hard about it because it was like, okay, it's my iron. And I knew I was anemic after having my surgery, so I knew it was, and I needed to start taking my bariatric vitamins and stuff like that. So I did the work myself, like you did, because you are the epitome of what I sit and yell all the time about being an advocate for your own health.
Absolutely.
You are the epitome of that because going from 1 day to 2 days later having this test and yes, that's why you sitting here talking to me right now.
Absolutely. And it's the mental part was rough, but I will tell you the hardest part is the chemo.
Oh, the chemo.
Oh my God. I can honestly tell you that I do understand at times why people just give up. You're down bad. You're down bad. But everything that I love and everyone that I love and care about is worth the fight.
Right.
I was worth the fight to me.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask you. What did you learn about yourself during this experience? That you was worthy?
Yeah.
You was worth the
Yes. I learned that I was a lot stronger than I thought. When I had no other choices, giving up wasn't on the table.
Right.
So I had to put forth the effort and I had to have the faith of muscles to go forward. It wasn't easy. And had a resection surgery, which is the removal of part of my colon and part of my liver, and we took my gallbladder and fixed hernias. I pretty much told them while I'm open, whatever you see they need to be repaired. Take care of it, you know. And with the surgery, both doctors, the colorectal oncologist and the hepatic oncologist, they tag team the surgery. They did it together.
Okay.
They initially told my mom and sister and my best friend Donald that I would be in surgery for 5 hours. That surgery was 8 hours.
Okay.
Don't matter how long I was on it, just do what you need to do.
Right.
And I don't wish this on anyone in the world, because it's not worth it to have to go through this. But if you just have to go through this, I strongly recommend MD Anderson Cancer Center. They are amazing. They are amazing.
MD Anderson. That's through Baptist, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I know and you probably remember when I tested, my white blood cells was off the chart, and I had to go to the cancer specialist down here at St. Vincent's. We were in Piney Point, I believe, and that was the thing. One of the things you hit on when you say you was there with other people that was going through, because, like I said, I've told this story before too. Walking in that cancer's place, sitting there in the office in the waiting area, and you're looking around, and you're seeing that this thing don't discriminate age, race, sexuality, whatever. It does not discriminate. And you're in there watching little children up to the elderly and everything in between fight for their lives going through this chemo. It was very humbling being in there. Thank God that mine was just, I don't know, wacky white blood cell count just was going crazy at one point. They couldn't never find out why. But it was very humbling seeing that and having to go back, because I had to go back a couple times, and it was just, I could only imagine having to sit there and go through that. And now, at first you was thinking, thank God I'm not going through that, to actually be on the other side and you're one of the ones in the waiting room going through that.
Yes. And you kind of develop that's why I say MD Anderson is such a wonderful place, because you actually develop a personal relationship with all of the nurses there.
Yeah.
And even the other people who are currently fighting a life battle.
Yes.
It's humbling.
Yeah.
It's humbling. And sometimes you got one person, older man, will come in here every time. For some reason, we're on the same schedule. Hey, y'all, And one day, he wasn't on my schedule. He wasn't up there with me. Hey, where's Mr. Such and Such? I would say, where's Mr. Such and Such? And I got that.
You got that. His race was over. His race was over.
And one of the other things that's very discouraging and that people do, and they don't realize that they do this. And I believe it's quite possibly because they're trying to uh, relate in some sort of way. Is when someone who's currently sick is telling you about their battle, I'm currently fighting such and such, the very last thing that they need to hear. And it not taking anything away from your current experience or what you have experienced with your loved ones, not taking away from that at all, or not saying that it's not important or anything. But when a person is currently in their fight, the last thing they want to hear is who didn't make it. Oh my goodness. You will not believe how often I hear that. Or how often I heard that. Share the victory stories. With a person who's currently in the fight. Share the victory stories. Well, yeah, my aunt such and such had it, and she rung the bell. That gives a strength. Like, I can do it too. But when you hear the opposite, you're already having mental battles back and forth about the what ifs. And then you hear something like that, and it snatches all of the from you, And people do that often without realizing that they're doing that. So please.
Stop doing that.
Please.
But like you said, they're trying to relate, I guess, one of their situations, but not realizing that your situation was a negative outcome. And that person has all the hope in the world for a positive outcome.
Yes. And they don't quite understand that.
Right.
So please.
I get it. Like me and you had that conversation, and we were talking about, because you was using the word past or transition, and I was more or less coming from a fight against the system. Like, they need to hear the real word, because like you said earlier, a simple test. And I was like, it needs to be called what it is. Like, no, they didn't transition, they didn't pass, they died. And you was like, I can't say those words. And I'm like, I'm in the fight, like, to fight. Like, like, seriously, like, we need to get the word out here that these people aren't transitioning, they're not passing where. No, this is what it is. It's the big D. They died. It's death. And and I mentioned my father. I said, my father didn't transition. My father died. That was it. But I get it from the emotional, because it is an emotional state when it's emotional, physical, mental. I'm just coming from it from a emotional part of it. Like, hey, the insurance companies need to tighten up. Because like you said, you talk about a $200-something thousand versus maybe $1,000 test. Like, let's call it what it is. They need to tighten up because people are dying.
Just like they have yearly preventative mammogram exams, or women go to the gynecologist and we get our exams, and we do that yearly for preventative measures. They should have a CT scan once a year for everyone. Just run them.
Just thinking about your situation, the doctor told you it had been going for how many years now?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. Okay, so I have colonoscopy done, and they're telling me I don't come back for another 5 years. So if you're fine, yours was going for 3 years. I got 5 years of Russian roulette that I'm playing because they don't want to get it done more often. Hey, I suggest, maybe instead of taking that girl's trip, maybe you need to splurge and spend a little money on a colonoscopy or something that could save your life. Because I'm here to tell you, I'm all about the fight to be here for my grandkids. I'm about for everything it takes to be here.
I concur. And most importantly, always advocate for yourself.
Right.
Just because one person says something doesn't mean that that's just what it is. If you have any doubt, get a second opinion. Get a third opinion.
Right.
Not saying that you're going to hear something different, but at least have that option there.
Yeah.
To hear something different.
Correct.
A few weeks ago, this is actually pretty funny. Since going through what I went through, I don't care if it's a scratch on my arm, I'm going to the doctor.
Right.
And I went to the doctor the other day because I had this little bump here. And I didn't know what, hey, I need to come to the doctor. See, there's a little bump is right here. So the doctor, it ended up not being anything, but he was trying to find the little bump. And he says to me, trying to find it, but you have a really, really fat thigh. And I told him, I said, one really would have been enough. You didn't have to add another really. But it ended up not being anything. But I say all of that to say it's very important to advocate for yourself.
Exactly. And, you know, with part of advocating for yourself and fighting and winning, what does it mean for you being a survivor? What does being a survivor means to Cynora?
It means being transparent.
Right. Silence kills.
Silence kills.
Silence kills.
Being transparent, because while I was going through, as you know, I didn't tell the world what I was fighting. I disappeared from social media for the time that I was fighting.
Right.
I had to lock in. God and I had to lock in and fight this beast, because that's what it was.
Right.
You know, just like you were just saying a moment ago, this is the first time that I'm actually using the word cancer. I always say the C word. It's like I don't want to give it life. I don't want to give life to something so horrible. Right. So I just call it something else.
Remember,
this is the first time that, and I told you that I would use the word. I would actually say it.
And that's what I say. You got to acknowledge your opponent in order to beat them. You got to acknowledge what it is in order to properly fight it. You got to acknowledge what it is.
It was Goliath.
Yeah. It was a number of things.
Oh my goodness. It was Goliath.
It was a number.
But I had my man shot in stone.
So let me ask you this. How long has it been now that you've rang the bell and been in remission?
February 4th.
February 4th. Do you have a fear of recurrence?
Yes. Yes. I did what's called the signature test. Because I just got it done. The lady, the football came to the house and took my blood the other day.
Okay.
And they run those tests right before every time I get scanned. And what the test is to gauge the probability that it will reoccur. But as of right now, it's sitting at 0.
All right.
Yeah, right now it's sitting at 0. And I'm praying that it stays that way.
Okay.
But my life is very different. And they often say that, you know, once you go through this, you may feel better. I feel great. You know, I've got my appetite back.
Yeah.
I feel great, but you never go back to being the original you.
Right.
And that's where I am.
Because that was another thing we talked about when we talked about using other words, transitioned, past. And I said, actually, you transitioned because you are now another Cynora that would never be the old Cynora again.
I look at life totally different, Nicole.
Right.
The things that didn't matter before, the things that, you know, that I used to trip over, I step over now. The things that used to anger me, I let roll off my shoulders. Because all of that stuff builds cortisol in your body, which creates sickness, and you have to fight that. No one can fight it for you.
Listen, I ain't even fight cancer, and I've been on that type of thing. I said, I was just telling my sister, I say, girl, the stuff y'all be spazzing out. I say, I tell you, I give some. I care nothing about it.
I'm telling you, just the small. I get up in the morning. You know, I'm up early in the morning. I get up in the morning. There were times I used to walk outside and I hear birds chirping. I just go up like this. Now, it's amplified.
Yeah.
I walk outside. I hear the birds chirping in the trees. I see the squirrels chasing each other across the street. I see the dew on the grass. Right. All of that matters. Right. Every little thing matters.
So let me ask you this. What message do you want others to know about cancer awareness?
Don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. If it crosses your mind and you know you're not going to remember to do whatever, set an alarm on your phone to remind you to call or schedule an appointment. Go get checked out. Especially if a history of cancer runs in your family. It doesn't have to be colon cancer, any kind of cancer. If it runs in your family, definitely go and get your screening. Not enough Black people follow up and do what they need to do. It's important. No, it's not important. It's imperative.
Imperative, right?
it's imperative to
Right.
see about yourself.
Right.
It's very, very important.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of earlier when you said your sister and your mom and your family, how supportive they were. Another thing too with cancer awareness, I know I've heard in my family, um, when somebody has something, they tell, oh, don't let them cut on you and don't let them do this and let them do that. It was good that your family was on board and wasn't feeding you that foolishness, because I have a cousin that is no longer with us, left here in 2022. She died in 2022 behind, don't let them cut on you, when she couldn't hardly talk and, her throat was messing up and this and that. And then it went to when they did cut on her, it was too late. It's too late.
I've always had, because you and I had this talk before when I contemplated having bariatric surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And look, that's the mentality I had at one point in time. But I also said, if it's a matter of life or death, do what you need to do.
Right.
If you're going to, you can fillet me like a red snapper. If you're going to save my life.
Right.
And right before the surgery, I told Dr. Filosa, he's the colorectal oncologist, before he walked out of the room, I said, can I hold your hands? Can I pray with you? And he said, yeah, I did. And I said, I just wanted to hold the hand that has been blessed to before we start the surgery. Just want to hold his hand.
Right.
And it kind of got him all choked up. I didn't even do that to him. Mm-hmm. But he and Dr. Gutierrez did good thing. And I am a strong believer, if it's going to save your life, don't be afraid. Do what you need to do. Do what you need. Say your prayers and let God do what he do. Let God guide those hands to save your life.
Okay, the last thing I want to ask you. What are you most grateful for?
Life.
Second chance.
Second chance. The other day, and I'm not going to much. The other day, one of my really good friends, Tarina, and I, she came and got me, and we went to lunch, and she stopped and got her godmother. And we all had lunch and had girls talking all. But on the way, and then we had ice cream, like for kids. And on the way going back to where we were coming from, her godmother was sitting in the front seat. And she said, if I can go back, now this lady is, I think she's close to 80, she's 70-something years old, close to 80. She said, if I can go back to be in the age again, I'll go back to 45 years old. And when that lady said that to me, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. And Tarina said, that's how old she is. And put me in the back seat because I was going to get in the back seat so the elder comes.
Yeah.
So she put me in the back seat. She said, that's how old she is. She said, you're right. I said, yes, ma'am. And that has stuck with me because in my mind, I'm just halfway through. I've lived one part of my life, but it's not too late.
Yeah.
I am going to travel. I am going to do all the things that I've been putting off. Yeah. I'm going to do what I need to do what I want to do. Yeah. I'm going to live my life. Because at the end of the day, when I'm sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch watching my grandson play outside with his children,
yes,
I want to sit in my rocking chair and reminisce, and I want to say to myself, all my life, I did something. Yeah. I want to look over my life and say, and have a lifetime of oh wells rather than a lifetime of what ifs.
Yes.
And yeah.
Make your last half your best half.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely, I am.
And I just want to point out, girl, you made it through chemo with your hair, child. You still got your hair on your head.
I got it's thin though. It looked like a dandelion, but it's it's thin and all my edges fell out, but the edges are growing back. But I'm here.
Hey, we could buy a wig, but we can't buy another you. That's for real.
I was looking like Ben Franklin for a while in the front. Like a blue face. But I don't care about that. I will purchase some hair. I don't care about the hair. I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. And I am grateful.
Well, there you have it, you guys. With Cynora Hunter, survivor of stage 4 liver and colon cancer. Yes. I want to thank you all for tuning in. This has been Conversations with Cole. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Conversations with Cole, where real voices, real stories, and real truth come alive.